China's biggest political gathering of the year, also known as the Two Sessions, wrapped up earlier today, and it saw thousands of delegates vote for 7 draft resolutions, including the government work report, all geared towards achieving this year's 5% GDP growth target. Now, we've been hearing from our China correspondents who have been extensively covering the week-long meeting. Let's go back to the team in our Beijing bureau for more.
Yes, Natalia, I'm here with our China team, Guan and Deborah Wong, both China correspondents as well. And undoubtedly, I would say that this year, one of the big themes has been artificial intelligence and AI, and all ministries pledging support for this innovation drive. Let's give you a bit of a flavor.
主题记者会快变成科技主题记者会了。
量子科技、具身智能、6G、
大数据。
I think the AI will be very important for Chinese economy. If you look at the DeepSeek.
以 DeepSeek 为代表的科技企业受到市场广泛关注。
这2天谁要是不说 DeepSeek， 好像就不太时髦似的啊。
Guan, DeepSeek, Nerja 2, Black Myth, Wukong, all hailed as examples of China's technological breakthrough. But we do know that things are moving incredibly quickly, aren't they?
Correct. We are seeing Manus, the new AI kit on the block coming out, right, during the 2 sessions essentially, right? And the Manus kind of shows you where it's all going. Artificial general intelligence. Manus, for example, says that it can, for example, book your trip and help you book tickets as well.
You know, exactly this point is pretty interesting because I did see a prototype and I had some experience using it as well. A Chinese smartphone maker, Honor, they just launched a new AI agent and I had a preview of that when I met up with the team. Basically, that feature allows you to, you just ask the feature to make a reservation for you. Let the feature know what kind of cuisine you're looking at, the grade of restaurants you want, how many people you want to have join for the dinner, and they can make all that for you. All you need to do is to approve the payment. Now, the more you use it, the smarter the AI agent would be for to take note of your preferences.
Well, but the Honor phone uses Qualcomm chips, an American firm, right? And it's the same with DeepSeek. It's trained with NVIDIA's chips, American chips. And so China is also vulnerable to the US banning the use of NVIDIA's software, which draws power out of AI chips, American software. So the next thing that China needs to do is to, fill up this vulnerability. The next thing China needs to work on is reliability. DeepSeek R1 hallucinates or makes up stuff far more than ChatGPT. Meanwhile, Manus AI is still in beta testing, and some beta testers have said that it makes mistakes when carrying out its tasks. We need to remember that a lot of technology startups, be it in China or in the US, is built on hype. They don't show profit, right? And they don't issue dividends, right? Investors pour money into them for their potential and capital appreciation. And in fact, one tech investor once told me that definitely there is a bubble happening in the Chinese tech sector. But he says that is a necessary bubble because you need all that talent, all that money to pour into the sector for it to progress and innovate.
Yeah, but it's not just challenges with innovation or creating that ecosystem, right? It's also in its application. And I think we have a list here of some of the proposals and suggestions from delegates at these meetings talking about, the nitty-gritty, like Xiaomi boss Lei Jun, he talked about perhaps regulations for AI-related crime, or another delegate calling for parameters to be set out with regard to how AI is used in universities and with students. We also heard from voice recognition software iFlyTech's boss about a proposal for AI insurance, because clearly from what you guys have been describing, jobs are going to be replaced as well.
Well, the discussion in China has really moved towards this AI future that they envision. In fact, it is the knowledge workers that will take the brunt of the impact. Right, I was at the Zhejiang session, right, and one of the delegates, Mai Jia, is one of China's most successful author. He's also a delegate for Zhejiang, and he has come out to state his stance that AI creations need to be regulated. Here's what he says.
ChatGPT 它都是不需要输入文字，它需要就是所谓的语音输入，也就是说，像我的老母亲，她目不识丁一个农妇，她都可以写作了。如果说这样的文章可以发表，我觉得这个它没有逻辑性。
Now, besides that, another challenge that the Chinese premier actually raised was this issue of 内卷, and we hear about it a lot here in China, essentially referring to involution or excessive competition. Debs, you are based in Shenzhen, which is known as the tech hub. Have you seen examples of that?
I think 内卷 very clearly plays out in the price wars we're seeing in the electric vehicle space, but bigger picture, we're right now seeing a talent war emerge between the two tech cities of Hangzhou and Shenzhen. And one, Hangzhou is in the Yangtze River Delta and Shenzhen is in the Greater Bay Area. So analysts are saying that they increasingly need to find a niche to stay competitive. I spoke with senior economist Olivia Siong to find out more, and he told me that China is big enough for the both of them. They just need to find a geographical advantage. For Hangzhou in Yangtze River Delta, it's more exposed to the US, the East Asia, and Shenzhen in the Greater Bay Area is closer to Hong Kong and Macau, so we can tap on open internet, international funding, and it also has a linkage to Southeast Asia. So these are the advantages they can play on. Have a listen.
Hangzhou's innovation benefiting broader industries, not only in manufacturing, which is the case of Guan. AI and robotics make factories smarter and leaner. Those improvements quite significant, but 30% low cost, 20% more output, which is very shocking in such a short period of time.
Debs, from what we heard there, it sounds like competition can also be healthy, but perhaps there needs to be some guidelines when it comes to excessive competition, right?
Yeah, I think this is a problem that the Chinese government is very aware about. They've been talking about it for months on how to tackle this issue. And we're seeing it emerge for the first time in the government work report. You know, Premier Li Qiang, he's calling for China to work towards sustainable market practices. On the local level, we're seeing authorities call for coordinated industrial planning. We are hearing them say they want to regulate competition to attract investment. Now, 内卷 partially happens because we're seeing that there's no balance between demand and supply. On the business side, we're seeing them increasingly moving towards developing quality products. You know, instead of focusing on the price war, they think that competing based on intelligence and quality can also fuel consumer demand, which is what China has been trying to do these last few months.
Yeah, trying to do, but facing much challenge with it because of the weak confidence with the real estate market and so on and so forth. But you, Guan, I want to just zoom out again here. This is happening in China, but what do you think it would mean for the rest of the world?
Well, we live in very exciting times, and we have the front row seats here in China. AI will change China, and with China, and even the way China nations, right? And with China kind of neck and neck with the US, or possibly even leading the AI race, you know, what happens in China will affect and impact the rest of us on how we work and play, right? China is like the peek into the future. Remember cashless payments, right? It swept China for a whole decade before the rest of the world caught up, right? So the same will happen with AI.
And I would say that China's tech priority here actually goes beyond self-reliance. It's really all about boosting productivity. Domestically, China is experiencing an aging population, and you know, tech can help to cushion that impact. And externally, China has alliances with its Belt and Road Initiative member countries, where it has a lot of infrastructure projects, investments as well, and they can deploy tech there to help to boost productivity. I think beyond that, it's also about showing the world, using that as a platform to show the world that it has tech prowess and it can expand its sphere of influence.
Yeah, and that ties into the big message from the Chinese leadership that we were talking about at the top of this, that is trying to project confidence and as being a force of stability, something to offer the world in spite of all the challenges that it's facing at home and abroad. The blueprint has been set, but we'll be keeping an eye out for how all this is implemented. As we were mentioning, room for maneuver moving forward, but for now, we'll leave it there. Back to your telly.